G'day swingers. So we're still in lockdown here in Victoria. Not much fun. We've got to wait another couple of weeks before we could possibly get to the next stage, and then a few more weeks till we could possibly get to the next stage. So by the looks of things, until pretty much August 26th, there's no chance of me getting out bush for gold. Now we've had our exercise hours extended by 1, so we get 2 hours of freedom a day to exercise only or do what we need to do, apparently. So I'm going to be doing some coin shooting in the local park for the next few weeks or month, just to get some videos going. I know I've been pretty slack these days, but when you're locked up and you can't get out and you have no videos in reserve, it's a little hard. So I've got something completely different for you today. I've got a ring of mine that my partner had bought me a couple of years back now. It was an expensive ring and it was marked down dramatically. And I was like, oh, that's a great looking ring. I like that. It's a sterling silver ring with a 9-carat gold inlay. Now, as you can see, it's quite a nice pattern. However, the jewelry maker that made it, I think, didn't quite make the trench long enough and sort of just jammed this inlay in there, and it had a lot of high points. It's broken a few times somehow. Now, I do wear these rings all day, every day, other than when detecting. The only time I don't wear them is when detecting, because obviously I can't use my hands to go near the detector. I do usually have this ring on the whole time, which just surely for the fact that I want one, so when I'm using for the pinpointer, I've got something I know and can gauge whether the battery is dying on the pinpointer or something like that. So anyway, as I said, this one keeps breaking. Now, it's broken again, and it's the last straw. It's broken the camel's back, and it's time to do something about it. I've sent it off to jewelry maker, to the jewelry shop to be repaired. They repaired it. It cost me $40. It lasted a day. So I bought some silver solder paste off eBay and managed to do it in the kitchen on the stove with the butane, with the gas stove, and was able to repair it myself. However, I didn't get it right the first time, and because I tried to repair it numerous times in between, every time I repaired it, it had some tarnish on it, so obviously I'd go and clean it up and I'd sand it back, get rid of all the scratch marks and repair it. But doing that has weakened the gold. Now it's gotten to a point where it's so thin, it just breaks so easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel this out. As you can see just here, the inlay is already coming out with ease. So I'm hopefully going to be able to get the rest of it out. I'm not going to bore you with getting this bit out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that trench with some gold that I've actually panned. So there's a creek that me and my mate started with years ago. I'm talking 9 years ago now, and it took us a little while to learn, the tricks of the creek and stuff like that. And also took us a little time to get some gold. Now, I didn't live too close, he did, so he was able to get out and sneak out pretty much every night. Got some gold up pretty quickly. I only managed to get about 3.5 grams out of there over a 4 or 5 year period of my own personal. We did get about half an ounce out of that creek. However, my back went, and that's why I started detecting. Now, I thought it'd be fitting if I could repair this ring and actually put the gold into it, so there was actually natural gold from the first place that I panned, and it's very pure looking gold. So this here, as you can see, is a gram of that gold, and as you can see, it's very shiny, very clean looking gold. That was straight out of the creek like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this out, and I'm going to lay black sand in the resin, which I have some resin, which is UV resin, wherever it's hiding. It should be right here in front of me. Not sure where I put that. Ah, there it is. So I've got some UV resin. Basically, all it needs is UV light to cure, and that's it. So I've got a UV torch, and it does work. I've already tested it. So what I'm going to do is mix a little bit, lay it on the inside, and then I'm going to pour some gold over the top of that. So what I'll do is I'll get this cleaned up, I won't bore you with that bit. And once I've gotten through that, I'll then go and show you the process of me actually laying it in there, setting it off, and the finished product. Get back to you soon. Alrighty, so I got everything set up. I got the rings all cleaned up, ready to go. I forgot to put tape around it, so I have to do it before I actually start doing the next bit. You can see all the inlays being pulled out. I'll be keeping that and putting that aside, melting it down. It's not really much that much gold, but better than nothing. I got 1 gram of gold here, which I'll put a photo up. So nice, really clean, shiny gold there. And then as you can see here, I've got some black sand, which is all clean, dried, ready to go from the same creek. And I got the UV resin ready to go, UV torch. I've actually just mixed up just a little bit of the resin and some black sands. As you can see, that's gone off, that's not going anywhere. It actually seemed to work a little bit better due to the fact the black sand was in there, because it helped to conduct a bit more heat. Even though this doesn't really put off any heat, the UV lamp, it actually made this resin really go off pretty hot. So we'll get to it. I'll quickly tape this up, come back, and then we'll start applying the resin. Alright, so I actually don't have any tape, nor do I have any gloves. So, we'll just wing it. Should be right. So, as you can see, it's nice and clean. Focus. There you go. Nice and clean, ready to go. Bit of roughage in there for the adhesive, the resin to stick to. So what we're going to do, so I've already tested this, we can mix, focus, thank you. We can mix this resin up fairly well. Now I'm just going to put a fairly generous blob there. And I'm going to use a toothpick to actually apply this, because I can't think of any other way to really do this cleanly. And I'm going to add quite a bit of black sand. So that's a fair bit. I'm probably going to need a fair bit more. But I just want to get more of a paste of black sand, because if I can get a thin black paste, then it should be a little bit easier to set off and cover the bottom, so that it's black behind the instead of being silver behind the gold, allowing the gold to actually stand out a bit better. So I'm going to add some more. Thankfully this resin stays nice and soft and liquidy until you apply UV. I apologise for the lighting. I don't have a lot of space, as I explained, and I'm in my studio at the moment so that I can stay away from the animals while I'm doing this. My pussycats. Alright, so that looks fairly good. So what I'm going to do is just apply bit by bit. Onto the ring. I think what I'm going to have to do, sorry it's not quite in focus, I think what I have to do is just quickly sort of hit it with the UV light, just to set that off a little bit, just quickly. Hopefully that's going to hold it in place and not let it slide around too much. Alright, so as you can see, the center has now been filled with this resin with the black sand in it. So that's now filled that. As you can see, I've still got some depth in there where I can actually put the gold in there. So hopefully it's still tacky enough that it will actually stick the gold to it. Fingers crossed. Give me a sec, I just got to go and do a toilet break and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Now, I don't know exactly how this is going to work because I'm not going to mix a gram of gold into resin and we'll just lose it straight away. I want to see if it's actually going to adhere straight to this the resin, seeing it's still a little tacky. It appears to be. Beauty. So what I'm going to do is just grab my tweezers. So I've got a vise attached to the bench behind you and it's actually in my way. I thought it was going to be of use, but it's not. It's on the floor now. So it's going to get this and just press the pieces of gold in. Try and get them orientated nicely. And what I'll do is I'll just quickly go through and get all this in. And then what we'll do is we'll take the resin and pour it in over the top. But what I'll do is I'll apply this and I'll get to the next stage and then we'll do that. And meanwhile, watch me fast forward. Alright, so as you can see, I've got a basic layout. What I'll do is bit by bit, I'll add in some resin and then I'll just go and just dab it in bit by bit using the toothpick to level it out. Then I'll heat it up with the UV light again or cure it and then keep moving around bit by bit just to lock all this in place. But so far, so good. Let's keep going. Alright, so that didn't quite work as well as I thought. It's all lumped up, but that's okay because that gives me a chance to set it all again. I'll get that done and I'll show the finished product. Alright, so after applying the gold and cleaning up, as you can see, it's 0.23, so just under a quarter of a gram. So that means there's 0.77 of a gram of gold hidden in there. I'm just letting it cure a bit more. It's definitely doing the job. But as you can see, shit, there we go. Now I've got some awesome fine gold wherever I go. I can sit there and stare at this all day whenever I get my gold fever. Alright, so I've been busy and I've been sanding it after it's cured. It's gone off. Are you ready to see the finished product? I reckon this looks awesome. Check out my new ring. All cleaned up. I'm just trying to keep the ring in focus. As you can see, I've gone and cleaned it up. I've sanded it. The resin actually did go off quite well. And as you can see, there's a really raw patch of gold sticking through there, which I don't mind. There's a few spots where it's just sort of glints through, which is quite nice. But basically I just used some 240 sandpaper with a bit of water just to take the bulk of the resin off. And then I went over it with 800 grit with water, and also then with 1200 grit using water. Now for the polishing compound, I have some old silver polish paste. It was a liquid paste, but it had actually dried out quite substantially. It's now as hard as a rock. But the beauty is, it actually allows me to apply it to my jewelry cloth quite well. So after I went over the 1200 in water, I went over with the rag with a bit of that paste in the rag, and as you can see, it has come up a treat. So impressed with this. I'm going to be staring at this all day. The view that you're seeing now, this is pretty much just imagine me all day while I can't get out of this lockdown. Sitting at work, I'm going to be staring at it just like we are right now. Well, thanks heaps for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It is something completely different, but I think it's worthwhile anyway. You got to see a whole gram of gold, and right now we're looking at 3/4 of a gram of gold. But thanks again for watching. Hopefully in a couple of weeks time I can get out and do some coin shooting. I just have to wait for this round of lockdown to be over, and then I can get back out there. Till then, thanks again for watching. Take care, stay safe, and see you later.